Hey everyone, welcome to The Grind. We are starting a new series on the book of Ruth. I know it's a book that we're all very familiar with, the story of Ruth, but we're going to take the next 4 weeks to go deeper into it and what it means for us in our lives, like how are we the Ruth or how are we the Naomi or so on in our lives. And basically we see that how it's Pastor Barry was speaking about how commitment isn't about staying when it's easy, but choosing to stay when everything in you wants to walk away. And so if we look at the lives of Ruth and Naomi, life took a really devastating turn, and the decision that they made really shaped the future of redemption history. Just imagine if they made different choices. I don't think we would have King David or others. So anyways, they stayed faithful to the Lord and made difficult decisions in difficult times. So, are you more of a cling to comfort person or a count the cost person?
I feel on both. Like actually it's more of stages. It's not at the same time. I feel like me being a guy, being very like efficient oriented, I will count the costs. And then even like counting the costs and like noting all like the consequences and negatives, I'd be like, okay, but how bad is it to do my comfort pick?
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, it's not that bad. All right, comfort pick it is. Like even though like it's such a it's taking like a longer route or something, I was still like, yep, I'm gonna pick that.
Yeah, I agree. It's more on the context. So if like I'm exercising, then I can somewhat stay until the end of the 50-second stint. Because like I'm doing it to work out, to improve. And in a relationship, I think I can persevere and diffuse bombs during rough patches, but it's more about work or in career, then I can be easily follow the comfort route.
Yeah.
And I feel like I just want to walk away. Maybe I'm too tired to help out at certain gigs, or just withdraw from projects.
Yeah. I think on paper, it would be nice to describe myself as the, count the cost and let's go for it. But then also in reality, I think sometimes I'm more of I prefer the comfort zone because it's just comfortable. It's what I know. I don't have to exert extra effort. But then also I know that if I stay in like the comfort area for too long, then I don't grow and then it just gets a little bit boring. So again, context, right?
I feel this is like that part in the MBTI about like judgment versus feelers, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so I think it's one of those things where I think that when the situation comes, then maybe that's when you can tell whether you're clinging to comfort or count the cost. So, okay, now who's someone you've seen model loyalty or long haul faithfulness, and what did that teach you?
Honestly, there's not many people that way. but I would say it's really my parents. They're not the perfect example, of course, but then I see their faithfulness and their loyalty in the 30 plus years of marriage. So maybe many couples have divorced already, or they are just like enduring, surviving marriage. But I think with God's help, with continuous prayer, they actually are improving, and I really admire their faithfulness to each other. So it showed me the actualization of patience, like counting no or counting less wrong of the other people, and being loyal to each other despite like hurts and offenses.
For me, that when I read this question, actually the first thought of people who came to mind were actually these two high school classmates I have, because some context is that when I graduated, there was a class drama, so it split up the grade into like three factions, like
factions.
Party A.
This sounds like Hunger Games or like Divergent or something.
There's
factions.
Party A, Party B, and then Party C is just the people who just don't care. But it's mostly A and B fighting each other. And I was part of Party C. I just didn't care. Actually, I was more oblivious of what was going on, so that's why I was naturally put into that category. So basically, I don't have much contact with many high school friends anymore. But it's these two classmates who have been like actively taking taking initiative of like trying to stay connected, because we know that if we stop talking for too long and stop meeting in person too long, the friendship's gonna die. You know, so I do admit that these two guys, they take a lot of more initiative than I do. Like they're always the ones saying, "Hey Dom, when are you gonna come meet us? Dom, it's our birthday. Are we gonna do something?" Like it was even at one point it was my birthday, and they were like forcing me to meet up with them. And I think, but like yeah, it's all funny and giggles, but like actually when I really look at it, I think that's kind of like what loyalty and faithfulness would look like. That they're the ones who like, this is something we truly value, therefore we're gonna put in the effort to keep it alive.
True. Like, I think just hearing you talk about your parents also reminds me of my parents as well. And I think my dad has definitely demonstrated long haul faithfulness. Just in terms of caring for my mom, I think he could have totally pieced out and be like, I'm done. But I think the way he chooses to be the one to take care of her and care for her well, I think just inspires me to, you know, wow, like this is what covenant marriage looks like. This is what covenant faithfulness looks like. So yes, my mom can't exactly be the wife that, you know, I guess is definitely not the wife that he married anymore, because of just her condition. But I think he's just remained faithful to her. That's just really inspiring. And I think also when I think about long-term like loyalty and faithfulness as well, I think people who are missionaries, long-term missionaries who really are just depending the Lord to provide for them. Like my friends who are serving in, like, I mean, I have a friend who's in Perth and she's like a missionary there. She organizes all these things and, you know, just, yeah, missionary friends. And even Jung as well, who's missionary, you know, he was just like committed to what the Lord has called him to, which is sports as well. And, you know, doing that wherever God's called him. I think anyone who's a missionary and, you know, stays committed to the Lord, I think that's really inspiring. I mean, there are definitely people who are leading and been in the Christian field for so long and they fall away, and that's just really, you know, sad. But then you have also the ones who stay committed, and I think that's, yeah.
And similar to Dom was what Dom said, I always thought that loyalty and faithfulness is like a big word, but then I'm reminded of my university classmates as well. So we were studying music. We like known each other for 10 plus years, and then we may not talk that often, but then like always this classmate Louisa, she will host an annual concert with her students, and then we'll get together and play together in this concert, and this yearly thing become our bonding and tradition. Like we'll always be there. Yeah,
that's really cool. Yeah, I think it's definitely something that is valuable when you have someone in your life who is loyal and who's in it for the long haul. Because I think, yeah, who wants a flaky friend, or who wants that real person who's like, I'm out, life is tough. And so if we go back to the book of Ruth and with Naomi, and I think life was hard. That's, you know, she went, basically her journey was famine, displacement, death, and disappointment. So, I mean, they moved away to Moab because, you know, famine. And then their sons intermarried with wives there. And then, so it's basically made a lot of decisions that may not have been pleasing to the Lord. And they made some they had to make some hard choices too. And so I can't imagine myself being in that situation. Like, I mean, I can imagine, like, you know, my dad, one of the reasons why he moved to Hong Kong was because, you know, life was just a little bit brighter here than staying on in Malaysia. So we immigrated here. So yeah, I think that couldn't have been a easy choice for him too. I never really talked about it much with him, but couldn't have been easy just to leave everything that he knew and come here alone with my mom to set up a new future. Like, we're the only like transplant here. So anyways, let's talk about hard choices for just a bit. When have you been tempted to seek solutions outside of God's will during hardship, and what was the outcome?
I think there's a lot. Well, yeah, a lot of times I always go to God, but I think the few times I try to seek a solution beyond God is when, usually, well, of course, when He doesn't answer, or perhaps He answered and I either wasn't listening or I wasn't happy with the answer. In those cases, I guess, you know, I think my go-to is just trial and erroring. Is that even the
Try what?
trial and error?
Oh, trial and error.
ing.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Like
Sure.
the continuous
Yeah,
attempt of just trial and then having error. And yeah, big surprise. Of course, I'm gonna have a lot of failures,
Yeah.
a lot of attempted stuff, and yeah, trial and error.
Trial and erroring.
Trial and
And
error.
harrowing. Well, I think there will always be temptations, all the time, in every aspect, but it's usually when it's just matter what you react to it,
Yeah.
and whether you wanna like keep to God's principle, and for me, I think the most part was I had like a real issue with loneliness after coming back to Hong Kong from Spain, and so I was really into like pornography and masturbation, and but like the more you get into it, you realize it just brings you more loneliness and emptiness, and you realize like how fake those things are. Even they may tempt you with like temporary solution, but it's not really a solution. It's like fast food. So yeah, that was the outcome, and eventually, like,
So how'd
God.
you like say, I guess, come out of that and come to the Lord and all of that?
I don't know, just continue in like reading the word, like having prayer, and then you have this realization that yeah, God's will of the like one male, one female is the right design, and then God's way is actually the most satisfying way. Yeah, because everything else is just fake. Yeah.
I think sometimes we try to find different things to fill the void, and I think we live in a culture of consumerism, so it's all about like buying, especially I think when it's like say sales season or whatever it is. The society will always tell you need this, you better get this soon. I think actually a lot of marketing is fear driven, because it's like limited time only, so you have this like, oh, if I don't buy it now I'm gonna miss out on a great deal, and I don't think like God ever uses that, like, oh, limited time only, salvation is only available in this time, so you better say yes to me, if not, bye-bye. Well, we also don't know when Jesus is going to come back, right? So he could come back right now in the middle of this episode of Grind. Nope, not back yet. So and so like, but we also want to be ready too, but we also don't want to use like fear, like, oh, you better say yes to Jesus, if not, like, it's gonna be a very painful future for you, you know, that kind of thing.
And it's always like why is this wrong, and everyone else is doing this or that, and then like of course it's okay to be promiscuous or to be like spending a lot to gamble, and it's kind of like back in Genesis as well. The snake was tempting Eve to say, did God really say you cannot eat this? Did God really have this good intention to you or whatever? Yeah.
Like Ruth was written during the time of Judges, and one of the key verses for Judges is like basically everyone did everything that was right in their own eyes, and I think that's somewhat similar to this day and age where people are just doing what they think is right in their own eyes. And then if you say something against them, then it's like, oh, we offended like the entire human race or something, and it's kind of hard to have your own opinion as well. And I think that even like you mentioned Genesis, right? And also if you were to think about it, like why do you think we tend to withdraw from God and community when things go wrong?
Good, because when things go wrong, since we have this perception of God being like omnipotent and always God is good all the time, and so when things go wrong, it feels like God has forsaken us, and we are betrayed or like abandoned. So we or I don't like to be with someone who has hurt us. Yeah, and so or when prayers like they don't seem to work, or at this time it doesn't seem to work, my natural response is to why bother praying then? Yeah.
I thought you were gonna go down a different path, because my thought process was that, like, in the same way that, you know, when we know God as this God is good, God is great, right, and nothing's wrong with him, so then we would know better than to blame God. So then all we do is blame ourselves, I feel. And I think, like, we tend to, like, make that mistake, and, you know, we just start guilt tripping ourselves, like being harsh and criticizing ourselves, maybe to the point of, like, even, like, trying to play the victim card so other people, like, pity us, I feel.
Yeah. Like, you know, like last week we talked about having a healthy prayer culture, and how like sometimes we only come to our friends in prayer when we need something, and then we don't necessarily have like a then when things are good, we don't exactly like say like, oh, please pray for me, right? And I'm just thinking, like, I don't know if I withdraw from God or community when things go wrong. I might be kind of asking God, why is this happening to me, and demanding an answer. Maybe I do go to my community when things go wrong. I mean, the other day, like I had like a hives breakout, right? And I was thinking, okay, well, if the enemy's gonna come at me this way, now I'm gonna get the most powerful prayer warriors to come back me, because they have to get through my friends first before they get to me, right? So I was like, all right, guys, I have this, please pray. So maybe in some situations, there are certain things that I also don't want to tell people about too, because I'm still processing as well. So I also don't want to overshare, because I think it's something that I need to figure out in words as well, how to even approach the topic. So yeah, I think it's I think it's easy to wallow in self-pity. It's easy to be like, I don't, blaming God. It's easy to push the blame to something, right? Like, we either blame ourselves, we blame God, we blame people around us, but do we process the emotion that the thing causes us? I think sometimes we struggle with that. And I think with like Naomi, she was like brutally honest to her like daughters-in-law. I was like, I mean, what's the point of staying with me? I'm not gonna produce any more children, and if I do, they're gonna be like tiny babies, and you gotta wait till like really old until you marry them, and also like can't guarantee anything. So she's like, basically, go, be gone. And so they're like, no, we're not leaving. No, go, be gone. And Orpah's like, okay, bye. And then you have Ruth. She's like, I'm not. I'm staying. And I think this is again the key verse of a verse that everyone's very familiar with. She says, like, do not urge me to leave you or to return from following you, for where you go I will go, and where you lodge I will lodge. Your people shall be my people, and your God my God. So what about this? What stands out to you about this?
Just to like make things clear, when she says your God will be my God, so she wasn't like, she didn't believe in God yet.
Yeah, because she was a Moabite. Like,
yeah.
So
okay, yeah, just for context, because I think I was trying to see this in like the modern, like if I was in her position, I think if I see someone with such like authority, or like how do I say, excellence, or something, just a quality trait that is just above the norm, like so far above the norm, I would probably say the same thing. That I was like, hey, I don't want to like let's say if it's Keith, right? If Keith is like super wise, then I'm gonna be, wow, hey Keith, like, can I see you tomorrow? Can I see you the next day? Like, I think like the whole expression of you are who you spend time, you are who you surround yourself with. So I think Ruth definitely saw something in Naomi, and so when I see this all I can see is like, this is like true submission, I think.
I the commitment of Ruth to Naomi, and the complete surrender of personal preferences, like, stood out to me as well. Yeah. Because I'm a person with really specific and high standards, and like, it just baffles me that she can surrender so much, like her destination, her faith, even her burial place. So I sometimes don't even like want to eat what others want. so not to mention like where they live, and their God. Yeah, but then burial places, I don't really have preference.
Yeah, like, I think it's just her I don't want to say blind faith, but basically she didn't know what she was signing up for. But like you said, when you spend time with people, you recognize the qualities in that person that draws you, right? And so I don't think Ruth would have wanted to stick with Naomi if she wasn't inspired by her faith or her honesty. And also, like, I think like Naomi must be following God or I don't know, like there's got to be something about Naomi that brings Ruth in, right? Like I think that's like a person draws you in first usually. And so maybe I think like seeing how Naomi was just so authentic, it's so real. I think she's like, I want to follow you. I'm not going to abandon you, and your God will be my God. I think she's like, yeah, I'm going to have faith. I don't like the right thing to do is to return to my gods, to return to my people, but I'm just going to follow your God and believe that something is there for me. And so the fact that she embraced like her people, right? And I think one thing that Pastor Betty mentioned during sermon that really stuck out to me was like a lot of us at ICA, we're not necessarily from Hong Kong, and we're either in Hong Kong long term or just for a season. I think some people like we just treat like the city that we enter, we're just like, let me get out and go and move on with life. But how can we be a blessing as well in that? And I think for me, I was just thinking about that, and I was like, well, for me, for a season, I've always saw myself as a foreigner in Hong Kong, even though I grew up here. I would be like, oh, I'm Malaysian, and I have family back home. This is not my place. And in fact, like I was thinking when I hit high school, after high school, I'm done. I'm never coming back to this city, because I genuinely did not like Hong Kong growing up. I thought it was polluted. I thought it was boring. I just thought like this is a small city and I am out. So everything within me fought the idea of being back here. So the fact that I found myself back here, I was like, I don't want to be here. So I was trying to look for ways out. I used every excuse, like my skin is not doing well here. Hong Kong weather is not for me. It's still not doing well. And so I could still blame it. I'd be like, I'm not supposed to be here. Like my skin was perfect when I was in the States or like in everywhere else but Hong Kong. Hong Kong is the only city that causes my skin to break out in rashes and blisters. So I think it took me like a while to realize that when I said to God, yes, I will do anything for you, that involved being rooted and planted here. And I think that just made me like flip a switch and be like, all right, I'm here for a season. So Lord, use me to bless the city, however it may be, And so I'm still open to the idea of leaving. But I think I recognized that, yes, this is my city and I need to, be a conduit of his blessing here. I don't know, how's it been for you guys? I know you guys, well, you're born here.
Yeah. I have a Malaysian passport, but I guess same, raised in Hong Kong. But I feel I have a different approach from you. I feel I'm more like nostalgic and sentimental. So Hong Kong has a very special place in my heart. But I guess to the same extent, perhaps, I don't know, maybe it was the influence of YWAM of like now I'm in a state where I want to give back, I think. And so I never really saw it as like giving it to a foreign place, but I think maybe in a different kind of foreign, like maybe like on a spiritual sense, right? I feel that, I think that is something I would like to try give back.
I mean, there's this saying, the people inside the walls want to go out, and the people outside the walls want to come in.
Yeah.
And like I know it's some superficial reasons, but I always have this thought to leave as well. For weather, for skin, for living space.
Yeah.
And always, my favorite sport is snowboarding. So obviously there's a lot of snow in Hong Kong, and
if you create some at home, that's pretty much about it. No snow in Hong Kong, sadly.
Yeah, and so it kind of makes me like be disappointed or frustrated with this city as well, and to own a car is like expensive.
To live here is expensive.
And car is like one of my favorite things, driving. I mean, so yeah. So I'm even more curious, like what made you flip that switch?
Well, I think it took It was the one sermon at this camp. I don't know if I shared it, Gateway Camp, and he was basically the speaker was talking about Jesus and Judas and Judas betraying him, and then he basically turned around and said that, sometimes we tell Jesus we want to do all this for him, but then we want to do it our way. How is that not betrayal? And I think that just, again, that flipped the switch in me. I was like, all this time I said, yes, I want to do all this for you, Jesus, but this way, please, And so I was like, I am the Judas. I've been trying to betray, Jesus. And so yeah, that flipped a switch for me. So I think that was a turning point because I think that at that point when I heard that sermon, it was 3 years or 2 years of trying to leave Hong Kong. In my mind, I was like, I'm not here permanently. I want to get out. I don't want to be here. Why am I here? It's always an ongoing thought, but never really fully manifested. So I think when I heard that sermon, it's like, you are here in Hong Kong for a season. I was like, okay, Jesus, I'm here. Help me. So like I said, I'm still open to leaving. But then I realized that if God has planted me here for a season, however long that may be, then use me as you will, Lord. So, yep, that was that switch flipped. So, Naomi, I guess if we were to say Israel was like Hong Kong for her, she returned. She returned home, and she renames herself Mara, which is bitter, but coming home, it opens the door to hope. So again, she's terribly disappointed, lost her husband, her 2 sons, gains a daughter-in-law, but I guess if you look at it from the outside, it looks as though disappointment outweighs the blessings. So how do you process your disappointment with God, and how can we strengthen our hope in current trials?
I think disappointment only comes because our expectations not met.
Yeah.
So I think one of the ways I try to justify or encourage myself whenever I'm disappointed with the circumstances to say that what I expected just isn't it isn't as good as what God planned. So I think that's just how I try to encourage myself to be like, hey, God has something better, so forget your expectations, try pursue that. I really get the vibe of Loki from Infinity War, where he's telling to oh, the sun will, he's telling his brother how did it go, I assure you, or something like that, the sun will shine upon us once again, something like that. So I feel it's one of those things that just keep going forward. Eventually things will wind out better. Yeah.
I don't know how I process.
Disappointment.
It's kind of I've become so numb. So sometimes. No. I would say something even worse will come up that makes me give thanks. So I know objectively or psychologically it's unhealthy to deny your own feelings and then try to say, oh, someone else is worse than me, so I give thanks. But and it sometimes feel frustrating as well, and defeated when we compare not to the top, but to the bottom. So maybe health or wealth, or someone else has this mansion, but you can also compare to all the subdivided flats without aircon, and so but I just try to reflect on this, or something else will come up and force me to reflect, and then that produces thanksgiving and humbleness, and then the disappointment is less.
I would say the way I process disappointment with God would be the usual spending time in the Word, and journaling helps a lot. Actually crying does work too. When I have no words to say, I was like, all right, and then or sleeping it off. I think that's how I process.
And sleeping is very good. That's why the prophet that did it.
I'll just escape from reality for just 8 hours, and then I'll come back and face my pain again.
Can crying be like a different form of speaking in tongues, where it's just your spirit just going?
Yeah, literally. And yeah, I would say that's the best. I mean, the strength of like hope during that time to process this. I mean, the whole idea of like journaling, I think is I choose to give thanks. I choose to be honest with like Naomi, being honest with the thing and be like, and again, my favorite verse is like, God, I don't know what to do, but my eyes are on you. Like I'll believe, I'll submit, I'll trust that you've saved me, you've delivered me, you've set me free. But you gotta help a sister out here because it's hard. So I think I'll just be brutally honest with God and then carry on. So we will see in the book of Ruth that the repeated theme is return to God. So last question today is, if someone asked you, why should I return to God when everything still hurts? Like, what would you say from your own journey?
I have a very edgy, harsh, but like tough love response.
Let's hear it.
If someone says, oh, why should I return to God when I'm hurt? I'll say, okay, let me know if you find comfort outside of God.
Oh, okay.
Like, it's so harsh, but I feel that's really true.
Mm-hmm.
But I think, but then like, okay, but on a nicer note, right? I feel like if they have a relationship with God, then I just reassure them that, like, you know, the father always takes care of the child. The child falls, it's the parents or the father that takes care of them, right? And like, and then like, let's say if they don't understand the father aspect, then hopefully they'll understand the whole idea of like how God gave Jesus so we don't have to suffer. You know, at least that the fundamental of our faith of Jesus dying for us. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, no, I'm thinking about like how people they do find comfort outside. That's why they like outside.
But long sustaining comfort.
But then how long will it last? I don't know. Maybe they'll find out in eternity or in Judgment Day. But then, it's similar to the question of where is your Jesus when I needed him? Like something like that. I don't really know how to answer.
Yeah.
But I would say, and because I'm also in the process of discovering that answer too, it's not like I don't believe in Jesus, but I don't know how your answer or your problems will be solved.
Yeah.
Like right here, right now. So I don't know. I probably would say, maybe you really like genuinely pray to God and see what he will answer you. Perhaps the answer will surprise you.
Yeah, that's a good way to go as well. I would say something that was told to me, and it says that how much more traumatic would it be if God wasn't in the picture? Because someone said that to me, and I was like, huh, as I was crying, okay, about a situation I was in. And yeah, I think that's what I would say is, when you come to God, there's always hope. I think that's the whole idea of Ruth, is that there's always hope. There's always hope with God when God's involved. And yes, it might be waiting now. Maybe it feels as though it's really cruel, the path they have to walk. Maybe it just feels like just quietness and silence. But God being silent doesn't mean he isn't working. And maybe like, 2 years from now or however long, when you look back, then you see like, okay, God's faithfulness each time that he intervened. And when he intervenes, there's, there might be breakthroughs, there might be miracles. You just need to submit and trust in him. Again, so easy to say, but so hard to do. And I think Ruth is a great example of just someone, she didn't know what she was getting herself into. But she's like, your God will be my God, your people will be my people. So I'm coming, I'm going. Like she's all in. So I think that's inspiring for us. Like the question is, can we be all in for God? All right. Well, that's that for today. Thank you so much for joining us, and we will catch you next time.
Bye.